At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Happy Thursday morning to you. It is Thursday, November 6th, and we're taking a look at a loop from the last 12 hours. Last night, you can see a few thunderstorms just north of the valley, and of course, just some of those light showers overnight. You can see the next batch of rain. If you look at that last part of the loop here, we're starting to see some showers on the left part of your screen there. That is the next shot at some rain coming in later on today. Take a look at the rainfall totals the last 3 days. Looking pretty impressive, especially down towards southern Humboldt County with over 4 inches of rain in the Redway area. There you can see for the valley on average about 1 inch of rain, which was kind of expected, although I wasn't expecting as much down to the south. Not very much in Alturas or Susanville, but pretty much everywhere else did see some pretty decent amounts of rain over the last 3 days. And again, we're going to be tacking on more to those totals as we go through the day today. All right, so we got one more cool and wet day for most of Northern California. Some of us are going to have to wait until this evening and tonight before we actually start seeing any measurable rainfall. Drier and warmer for your Friday and this weekend, and it looks like that'll continue into early next week. Still ironing out the details, at least the forecast models are, on when that wet weather returns next week, but looks like sometime around the middle to latter part of next week. All right, here's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. This is for your Thursday, November 6th. That's today. Today is November 6th. And we are looking at our forecast here for today. Krueger's Quickcast is kind of a quick look at your forecast for the day. Temperatures mid to upper 50s right now in the valley. Actually quite mild. Not as mild as it was yesterday morning, this time yesterday for places like Alturas and Susanville, but generally upper 30s, low 40s there. And for the coast, you're looking at temperatures in the upper 50s at the current hour. So for this morning, mainly dry, mostly cloudy skies across the board. It's not until around the mid to late morning hours at the coast we'll start to see a chance for some showers begin to move in. And you can see the cold front off to our west. That's what's going to be moving in. But we basically have 2 pulses that are going to be moving through today. The first pulse will be moving in, as I mentioned, sometime around the mid-morning hours for the north coast. That pushes eastward and really has a focus of staying to the north. So sometime around mid-afternoon, I think Redding, maybe as far south as Red Bluff, could see a chance for some showers moving on in. But most of it is really focused to the north and west of the valley. As you can see, Trinity County, especially even Humboldt County, and then even Siskiyou and Modoc counties. But look at Lassen, look at Plumas, not seeing much. But Bernie, Ayden, yeah, you're seeing some showers. Now that second pulse has more of a focus is pushing to the south a little bit more. So places that aren't seeing rain with that first pulse will most likely see some rain with the second pulse later on this evening and tonight. Then by Friday, we're done. We're done for a while. The wind's still a bit gusty, especially for central Siskiyou County. So if you are driving a high-profile vehicle in Shasta Valley in central Siskiyou County today, just note that it will be windy along that stretch of I-5 there, but then the wind should subside here later tonight and especially for your Friday. All right, so for today, looking at temperatures in the low 60s to the north end of the valley, a little bit warmer to the south because, again, it'll be mainly dry and there'll probably be a few more breaks in clouds as well. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and temperatures in the 50s for the higher elevations and low 60s for the coast. Now for tonight, still some of those showers, keeping those temperatures low 50s for the valley, upper 30s, low 40s in the mountains, and probably somewhere in the low 50s tonight for the coast. All right, let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. By tomorrow, we're drying out, but it's really not until the weekend that'll be noticeably warmer. We're talking mid to even some upper 70s. That continues into next week. Now, the long-range forecast models are having a bit of a difficult time with the timing of next week's rain. For now, it's beginning, there's more consensus in the long-range forecast models that it'll be closer to the end of next week, say around Thursday or Friday. So for now, I've taken that chance for rain out of the forecast here for your Wednesday, but still warmer over the weekend and early next week. Oh man, that is a gorgeous shot, isn't it? Lake Oroville, North Forebay, look at the beautiful colors. I bet we're going to have some beautiful sunrise photos coming out here this morning. Take a look at Main Street, Chico this morning. And there you can see not a lot of traffic. Still looks like the road is a little wet from last night's rain. But there you can see Highway 99 at Neal Road. Traffic is flowing along there. A little bit of sheen on the road, again, from some of the previous wet weather that we did see. Highway 44, Sundial Bridge Drive, a little overcast skies there this morning, but looks like traffic is A-OK out there. Take a look at Crescent City this morning, and you can see overcast skies, not raining. There might be a little drizzle out there, but we're going to hold off until the mid to late morning hours before we actually start seeing any of that measurable rainfall with that first pulse of rain I was telling you about. Taking a look at Bald Hill West, just kind of those scattered clouds across the region, and a lot of that low clouds and fog in many of those mountain valleys. Looks like still a little wet on the lens there. Didn't have a chance to really dry off because it's just been kind of covered in clouds. Mostly cloudy skies over Fort Jones this morning, even some patchy fog in some areas as well. And take a look at Lassen Volcanic National Park. This is out at the Visitor Center at 6,700 feet. Still seeing some of the snow left over from what we've seen over the last 24 hours or so. It's beginning to melt. It's warming up a bit. And we actually may start to see some rain on top of that snow, so it'll melt here before you know it. Today is Thursday. We got our NorCal Ag Report sponsored by Lassen County Nursery. And Jerry O'Lennon, he braved the elements to show you what the Chico's Farmers Market has to offer. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Jerry O'Lennon with Weather NorCal, and this is the Ag Report sponsored by Lassen Canyon Nursery. You can see I am in downtown Chico at the Certified Farmers Market, which takes place on Saturday morning. Despite the rain, the show must go on. I am with Miles Shelton. He is the manager of the Chico Certified Farmers Market. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
First thing I noticed, it's raining today, but the show must go on. Business goes on as usual?
It does. The Chico Certified Farmers Market, which has been an institution in Chico since 1980, is a rain or shine event, and we're here no matter what the weather, barring catastrophic events.
I noticed, though, honestly speaking, a lot of the lots are not filled as much as they normally might be. I see a few empty spots.
Sure, some of the vendors decide that discretion is the better part of valor, and they don't show up when the weather is extreme, but most of them do. Certainly the produce vendors and the farmers need to bring their perishable goods to market, and it's a necessity that we have it no matter what the weather.
On the positive side, it does allow consumers pretty much a free reign of the entire parking lot to get whatever they need and not have to deal with any types of crowds.
Sure, well, then we have surprising crowds. We're well attended and an important part of the Chico community.
I still find it hard to believe that the weather couldn't get so bad that you wouldn't say, okay, we're calling it off. That has never happened in how many years?
I can't declare that it's actually absolutely never happened. I think they did cancel one because of smoke from some of the various fires we had some years ago. But yeah, by and large, a few years ago, not this last summer, but the summer before, there was a 117-degree day on Saturday, and we closed a little early.
What about COVID? Did COVID shut it down at all?
They very temporarily, I guess, shut it down, but then they instituted slight separation in the booths, and that's how they dealt with it.
Has it been successful this year? I know this is the early part of the rainy season, but how has it been up till now?
Our market is, like I say, well attended and prosperous. And even though you think there are empty spaces in the market, there's transitional aspects, which implies that in between harvest of different crops there are some vacancies, but generally it's full and well attended.
Before we leave, remind me of the time Saturday that it's open from when to when.
We open technically at 7:30 and we run till 1 p.m. and we also, don't forget, our Wednesday market at the North Valley Plaza next to the Bank of America, and that runs from 7:30 in the morning till noon.
Miles Shelton, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And there's your Ag Report. I'm Jerry O'Lennon for Weather NorCal.
Thanks to Jerry for braving those elements out there. But you know what, rain or shine, it's always nice to head on out to the farmers market. My wife and I, whenever we are in Chico on a Saturday, we love going out to that market. It is awesome, and it's always really crowded. They got a lot of great vendors, juices, and of course a lot of great local farmers in the area. And so I highly recommend it, that if you live in Chico, if you haven't been there, to go on out there. And if you are visiting Chico on a Saturday and you happen to be there during their open business hours, I highly recommend it. They've got just, again, some really amazing vendors. I also want to thank our sponsor of the NorCal Ag Report. Really, since its inception, it has been sponsored by Lassen County Nursery, Kenny Elwood over there. So I want to thank him for his support of Weather NorCal and the NorCal Ag Report. Well, as you know, Coffee with Krueger would not be possible either without our sponsor, and that is our primary sponsor of Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. Now, before we get into the deeper dive, let's take a look at what we're really going to be talking about during the deeper dive, and that is one more cool and wet day for most of Northern California. Most of the day for some of you it's going to be pretty dry today. Still cool though. Drier and warmer though by Friday, and in particular for the weekend. Dry and mild to start off next week, and then cool and wet weather returns near the middle of next week. Probably closer to, say, Wednesday, or I'd even say probably closer to Thursday as well. But before we get into that deeper dive forecast, we have got our new sponsor, Shasta Hearing Aids. Check it out.
Frank, come help with the dishes.
What?
The dishes!
I heard it the first time. I just got back from Shasta Hearing Aids, but she doesn't know it yet. What?
Forget it.
Once again, I want to thank Shasta Hearing Aids for their support of the Deeper Dive forecast. And let's get you right into it. Temperatures are right now in the mid to upper 50s here for the Valley. 56 degrees out in Susanville at the current hour, 41 degrees for Alturas, and 58 degrees in Crescent City. So the radar shows, and this is from the last 12 hours, that last night there were a few sprinkles, some light showers. We even saw some lightning strikes yesterday evening north of Redding. That was that convergence line that we did see. The convergence line did develop yesterday, by the way, but it just didn't really develop all that strong. We didn't see tons and tons of rainfall, so flooding was not something. It was a bit of a concern, but as far as I know, there were no reports of any flooding out in the area. But now, this morning, things have dried out for the most part. We've got the next round of rain coming in today, though. And you can clearly see there's the cold front right here, and this is just barely toward it. It's moving fast. And the reason being is, here's the jet stream right here. And you notice how it's flat. This is what we call a zonal flow pattern. We don't have any ridges, we don't have any troughs, we just have a nice flat jet stream aimed right at us. So any disturbance that's embedded within that flow is going to impact us, but exactly where that impacts us depends on where you are. All right, so we still have a flash flood risk, believe it or not. We're not looking at a ton of rainfall, but here's the thing. We've seen a lot of rainfall in this area in particular over the last 2-3 days. The ground is very saturated. You think about yesterday morning, we saw the rock slides, the mudslides, debris flows, down trees, right? So the ground is still very saturated. So any rain we get on top of that isn't going to really soak into the ground a whole lot, and that will cause maybe some local creeks and streams to rise, and maybe some low-lying areas see some of that flooding as well. So just something to bear in mind if you live in that area. But I mentioned this earlier during Krueger's Quickcast. Today's rain is going to come in 2 pulses. The first one is right here. That's going to be on the coast sometime around mid-morning. By around the midday, most of the rain is to the north and west of the valley, central western Siskiyou County, Del Norte, northern Humboldt, and northern Trinity County. Now, as this pushes eastward, some of it will work its way into, say, around Redding, maybe as far south as Red Bluff, and of course also into eastern Shasta. But look at most of Lassen and Plumas counties. You're dry, but it does work its way into Modoc County, all of Siskiyou County, all of really Trinity County. But this kind of pushes a little bit more to the south. Now we're drying things out a little bit for Del Norte County. Now the second pulse of moisture is right here. So once this all kind of just pushes off to the east, this is focused a little bit more to the south. So as a result, I think we're going to see more rain to the south for areas that haven't seen rain, but still fairly dry even at 6 o'clock this evening, down for areas to the south and even Lassen and Plumas counties. But it's a pretty good fetch of moisture, by the way. This one actually may pack a little bit of a bigger punch than that first pulse, and that's when we may start seeing that potential for some of that localized flooding. By 10 o'clock tonight, now it's really kind of breaking apart, but we're still seeing the potential for some showers for the south end of the valley, Lassen and Plumas counties, right? Now, this will all move out, and by the time we get into tomorrow morning, it's gone. And we'll be looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies, some patchy fog out there. A lot of the mountain valleys may see some fog. We actually may see some fog for the Sacramento Valley as well, depending on how much clearing we see before tomorrow morning. That clears out. Look at tomorrow afternoon. Gorgeous. And this is going to translate to a gorgeous weekend in store for a Saturday and Sunday as well. Now, we take a look at the long range here. As we go into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you see that? That's a ridge of high pressure right there. So any storms off over the Pacific are going to butt up against that ridge like a brick wall and either break apart or get diverted to the north. And we stay dry through the weekend. We stay dry for Monday and Tuesday of next week. But I've got my eyes on an area of low pressure right here and some energy that these two will work together toward the middle and latter part of next week. Now, the long-range forecast models are still really kind of ironing out the details as far as the overall timing of this. Yesterday it was looking like sometime around Wednesday. Now it's looking closer to Thursday. And really, the European and the GFS both agree that it's going to be sometime around Thursday that we'll see that next round of rain coming in. And this certainly does have an element to it that, number one, some decent rain coming out of it. And number two, we could see another round of some gusty winds out there. Will it be as bad as what we saw, of course, yesterday at this time? We'll see. But yeah, more wet weather, cooler temperatures, and some winds kind of kicking back in as well. I still don't anticipate the snow levels to be all that low either. Wetter than normal conditions, yeah, the Climate Prediction Center is picking up on that potential. Of course, much drier for our neighbors off to the east. But the winds, just kind of a heads up, if you are driving a high-profile vehicle in particular, do note that central Siskiyou County will be a little gusty on I-5. So that's something just to be aware of, but also a little gusty to the north here, out towards places like Modoc County, most of Siskiyou County, Del Norte, and even northern Humboldt County. So again, not as bad as it was yesterday morning or the night before, but still a little breezy out there, even into the evening. But overnight tonight, through the day on Friday, much calmer winds across the board, including the coast. So yes, we've got those calmer winds in store for us. Warmer than normal conditions, at least as we go into the weekend and early next week. But then after that, temperatures start to drop again. Now, this is that sign of the potential for some wet weather. And I'd say Wednesday is probably going to be that transition day, at least at this point in time. This is one of those stay tuned type forecasts, because if you do have outdoor plans on Wednesday, not all bets are off for rain, but it's looking more promising that it'll be Thursday, Friday, and even into that next weekend as well. And not to mention, of course, the cooler temperatures. Hey, check this out. Kind of interesting. With the rain that we've seen, instead of seeing a drop in the lake levels, we're seeing an increase for Shasta Lake, for Trinity Lake, but still a decrease out towards Lake Oroville. But good, right? Always nice to see that. We do still have, outside of where we're seeing the rain, just the high astronomical tide. You know, talking about, you've been hearing about the Beaver Moon, right? So we've got a high astronomical tide and some pretty big surf out there. And so those are prime conditions for us to see the potential for some flooding along the coast. Now, if you live in the area, you know those areas are. It's typically going to be a lot of the low-lying areas along the immediate coast. Some of the streets may be closed as well. Well, the time frame of this will be around the high tide, which is a little after 11 o'clock this morning. So about between 10 and 1 p.m. are going to be the times of concern along the coast, and something you just need to be aware of as you go throughout your day on the north coast today. And don't be surprised if midday you're driving down along the coast there and you run into a flooded street. Take a look at the wave heights, though. Again, they're still fairly high here for today. They will drop a little bit for your Friday, but it will take a little bit of time. So as a result, we actually do have a hazardous seas warning through the morning hours. South winds at about 20 to 25 knots. Your waves from the southwest at 5 feet at 6 seconds, and from the west at 15 feet at about 15 seconds. All right, here's a look at your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. Now in Trinity County, you've got temperatures generally in the mid to upper 50s for your daytime highs today. But this is what I'm going to say across the board as we look at the 7-day forecast for each region. It's going to be wet for some of you, including Trinity County through the day today. By Friday, we're dry, and we're dry most likely all the way through next Wednesday. That's the trend. By tomorrow, everyone will be dry through at least next Wednesday. Hey, Fork, I think you'll see some wet weather through the afternoon and even into the evening hours tonight. North Coast, out towards, say, Honeydew, Miranda, Garberville, all looking at wet weather as we go into midday and then through the afternoon into the evening and overnight. There you can see Ferndale about 62, 60 out in Hinesville, 58 degrees in Rio Dell. Up north, about 63 in Willow Creek. Trinidad, about 63, and 62 for Eureka. Wet weather throughout the day, especially by mid to late morning is when it kicks in and continues through most of the day. 61 for Smith River, 56 degrees for Gas Key, and take out your Dignity Health Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast. By noon, western Siskiyou. Through the afternoon, central and eastern Siskiyou County getting in that rain as well today. We're dry by Friday, dry through at least Wednesday of next week. Scott Valley, you'll probably see some showers by maybe shortly before midday. Temperatures somewhere in the low to mid 50s for your daytime highs. Central eastern Siskiyou County, early afternoon is when your rain begins to kick in. 48 degrees out towards Tennant and 52 degrees for Tule Lake. For Modoc County, probably sometime toward the early to mid-afternoon hours, you start to see some rain. And then it looks like we're dry through the weekend and going into early next week. Eastern Mountains, all right, places like Bernie, Montgomery Creek, Shingletown, Paynes Creek, Viola, Old Station, Hat Creek, Fall River Mills, maybe even Bieber, all these areas here, sometime around early afternoon, you're going to start to see some showers, but then dry by Friday. But we take it to the south, Manzanita Lake, East Shore, Westwood, most likely dry through the day. Then by the evening, you do have that chance for those showers kicking on in. So overnight is one of your best chance for rain. Then we're dry for Friday through the weekend and early next week. Take it down to the south. I say you're dry through the day today. Paradise, all eastward. Maybe Mineral getting caught up in a little bit of that rain here. But otherwise, it's tonight that Paradise and even Susanville, you'll see some of that wet weather moving on in. All right, take a look at the Valley Neighborhood Forecast of the South, sponsored by Dignity Health. Dry through most of the day today. Los Molinos, southward, Chico. I think you're going to be dry all day today, really. It's not until this evening, tonight, you start to see some of those showers kick in. And even then, it won't be all that heavy. Friday through the weekend, into your Veterans Day, and even next Wednesday, it's dry. And it's warmer too, mid-70s by Sunday and Monday. We take you up to the north, about 59 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake. A little bit warmer out towards Redding, but still cool, only about 62 degrees today. That'll be the case down to Cottonwood as well. There's your 7-day forecast for Redding. You've got showers coming in probably sometime around mid to late afternoon. It's going to be one of those days where you're going to be in Redding and you go, where's the rain? Where's the rain? Where's the rain? Okay, finally, right? You're going to be waiting and waiting, and then it'll finally happen. But it won't be a lot. It's not going to be a ton. And then Friday through the weekend, you're dry, mid to upper 70s, around 77 on Monday. And then Tuesday, you've got about 75 degrees for your Veterans Day. The what moon makes the tide higher? The what moon? That's coming in from Debbie Castro. It's the Beaver moon. It's a full moon that's going on here. That's what she was asking here. You may have been kind of seeing it all over social media, the Beaver moon. It's the time of the year that beavers are typically a little bit more active this time of the year, so they like to name the different full moons as what we kind of go here. So that's what it is. So typically during the new moon and full moon, because the moon tends to be a bit closer, we tend to see those higher tides. And the moon is a little bit closer to the earth right now. And so as a result, we see those higher tides. And that's why the coastal flood advisories and warnings are in effect here for today. We have got Tracy Sackett. She's saying good morning this morning. We've got Curtis Brown saying good morning. Thanks for the great coverage on the storm. You bet. I've definitely been kind of keeping a close eye throughout the day. This is one of those days I kind of really have to keep a close eye on everything here. And then we've got Constance saying, thank you, Mike. A great place to start the day. Enjoy your delightful autumn. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that this is a great place to start your day. And I hope everyone feels the same way. This is the beauty of it is you can just turn it on, put it on the background when you're getting ready. And wherever it's impacting you, you can watch the weather, get your quick forecast, and you can go on with your day and get done with it. And if you happen to have any questions, then pop on social media, pop on your computer on YouTube or on Facebook, and you too can ask a question or make your comment like Tom Bell did right here. He's just sending out a message to everyone saying coffee. Looks like he's got a cool AI image of himself. That's pretty neat. But thank you, Tom, for that send of coffee. Here it is right here for me, right there in my Weather NorCal coffee mug. There you go. And I got to figure something out. I'll figure something out. Getting some merch out there, maybe somewhere online I can maybe, where you can go and buy different merch. I think that'd be kind of cool, right? Get more people with merch, and especially, I mean, come on, a show like Coffee with Krueger, there needs to be a Coffee with Krueger mug. So I need to design a Coffee with Krueger mug. And by the way, just want to kind of give you a heads up. There are going to be some small changes here at Weather NorCal for the better, okay? You're going to see a new face here pretty soon. Yeah, so I've got my weekend meteorologist, Chase Wilson. He's been with us for a while. Weather NorCal, as it grows, and it is growing, we are expanding a little bit. And then this is just a sign. My hair's a mess. It's fine. But this is just a sign of some bigger changes I'm hoping to see as we go through 2026. To have a bigger team here at Weather NorCal. And so we're starting with a new face on Monday of next week. So just want to give you a heads up on that, as we'll kind of have more announcements. And on Monday, be sure to tune in and watch Coffee with Krueger, because we are going to be meeting somebody new from a different location. Yeah. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. It's beautiful. I want to thank everybody for checking in, chiming in this morning. We're going to leave you with a couple of cameras here this morning. We got some great cameras that we have access to here in Northern California. So we're going to take a look at Soto Ridge. Not a whole lot to look at there other than just some raindrops, but outside of that, should be a little bit of a wet day for some of us, dry for others, just depends on where you are. Have a great Thursday, folks, and we will see you tomorrow morning on Coffee with Krueger at 6:30.
Thank you.